Hey, my loves, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Oluwatimile. If you see my face for the very first time, feel free to call me Timmy, okay? And you're welcome to the channel, okay? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave. Also, turn on the notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. Okay, you guys, it's been a while, okay? It's been a while since I last filmed a sit down video, but I had to make this video. Like, if I don't make this video, people will come for me. In fact, they started coming for me. You all have started coming for me in my dreams. And I'm like, okay. I've had so many questions about getting an accommodation, how to get an accommodation, tips to, have in mind before, paying for an accommodation. You guys have so many questions. Like, I don't even feel like I'm going to be able to answer all, because it's not like I have like some drafted out questions that I want to answer. I'm just going to answer based on what I experienced when I was trying to, secure an accommodation before coming into the country. So if you have been in my DMs, if you've asked questions in my comment section, you've been in my DMs, you've, sent me an email, any of those things, you have to find this video. I don't know how you want to do it. You have to watch it because I'm doing this for you, and I believe that it's going to help you in securing an accommodation by the time you arrive, or even before you arrive. Who knows? Because yeah, my tips are that good. Okay. So without wasting too much time, let's jump right into it. So before I proceed, I understand that there are different categories of people coming into the UK: international students, skilled workers, dependents, singles, married. I mean, different categories of people. But honestly, I would say that I'm just going to streamline this video to international students, okay? Because I mean, that was my experience. That was um I came in as an international student, if that makes sense. So it's only right to, I mean, give you all these tips I'm giving you, bearing in mind that I came in as a student. I didn't come in as a skilled worker or as a dependent. The very first thing you want to know when you want to secure an accommodation, or the very first thing you want to consider is, what type of accommodation do I want? What type of house do I want to live in? Okay, as a student, as an international student, there are a variety of houses. Like, you have like quite a number of houses that you can live. You have university halls, and some call it university accommodations. You have private student accommodations. You have shared houses. Okay, shared houses. So I think I'm just going to start breaking them down as I, state them. So university halls is just like students hostels, so to say, provided by the university. So for example, Northumbria University has like quite a number of university has a number of halls in the school. So the advantage of this is that you're very close to school. Like, the proximity to school is usually less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes to your classes, and it just makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. However, the disadvantage of this is that you have like a limited option. Usually paired with like so many people in a flat, and also you tend to, depending on how much you are willing to spend on the university accommodation, you tend to, just manage whatever it is that they give you. And to be honest, I don't think it's a very good idea, if you get what I mean, to come into the country and then you are managing accommodation and then you're not happy with the space that you're living in. Okay, so yeah, that's all about university accommodation. Now, for private student accommodation is also like a type of, like, it gives the university accommodation vibe, just that it is owned by private individuals, private companies, private estate agents, if that makes sense. So for this type of accommodations, you still have like a, how will I say, like a free will. You can pick which flat you want to stay. You can pick which, like, the kind of space you want to stay in, if you get what I mean. For instance, private student accommodation gives you like an option, okay, to choose between studio apartment. For a studio apartment, it's like a room that has your kitchen and has your toilet, just like a self-contained, basically, like the Nigerian term self-contained, if you get what I mean. And they also like there's also an option of on suits. So an ensuite house means that you have your toilet to yourself, but you'll be sharing every other thing in the house. Maybe a the kitchen. I stay in the private student accommodation. It's en suite and I share my kitchen. So I have my toilet to myself, and but I share the kitchen. Now, if you want to see what my house looks like, I've made a video once. I think it was even earlier when I newly came into the country. I made a video showing you, I'm showing you what my space looks like. I'm going to be linking the video up here just so you can see what it looks like. And then this private student accommodation are usually nicer, honestly. Like in my own opinion, though, I feel like they're nicer. I feel like they give how do they're more comfortable, if that makes sense. They're more comfortable than the university halls or university accommodations. But the only downside to private student accommodation is that they're usually more expensive. If you don't have that money to pay, you probably won't be able to, you probably would enjoy private university accommodations. Another thing about private student, I keep saying private university, you guys, private student accommodations. Another thing about private student accommodation is the fact that they usually ask you to provide a guarantor. And I mean, getting a guarantor in this UK, especially if you're coming in newly and you don't have anybody, can be tough. Okay, it can be very tough. And I mean, I know quite a number of people that couldn't get a space on time because they don't have a UK guarantor. And then most times, these like private student accommodations are usually very specific as to the type of um guarantors that they want. Sometimes they tell you, oh, we want a guarantor that has a property, or we want a guarantor that is a citizen, or want a guarantor that has lived in the country for, like there's usually a lot of specifications as to the kind of guarantors that they want. So you might also find it hard, to get that private student accommodations because of this guarantor issue. Moving on to the next type of house that you can get as a student here in the UK is a flat. Okay, you can get a bungalow, so you can basically rent like a one bedroom flat, a one bedroom apartment rather, or a two-bedroom apartment. And this house usually come in bungalow, detached, semi-detached houses. Yeah, so depending on your specification, you can decide to either go for a bungalow or go for any type of apartment you want to go for, or any type of house you want to go for. You're absolutely free to go for these houses. Now, breaking it down, breaking it further down. Okay, I'm going to now be talking about the apps, websites, agencies that you can get these accommodations that I have listed, be it the student accommodation or flat share, or even a two-bedroom or three-bedroom or one-bedroom apartment. Now, if you're interested in renting a university hall or university accommodation, this is like the easiest of them all because you can find every single information you want on the university website. And even if you cannot find it, you can easily, send an email to them telling them that you want to make inquiries or you want to find out more about the university halls available, the types they have, if they have varieties like Northumbria University has like loads of halls in the school. Just pick according to your budget. So it's easier to get a space with the university, because I mean all you're just doing is sending them an email, and as long as they have spaces available, because they get sold out pretty fast. Okay, you might want to consider the university accommodation, or maybe if you don't mind the type of people that they will probably pair you with, especially if if you're the type of person that really doesn't care about who you live with, you just want to sleep and wake up and have somewhere to keep your head till you are fully balanced, then you might want to reach out to your university or or the team assigned to the accommodation aspect of your university, and then you can easily get a space rented even before coming into the UK. Moving on to the next type of accommodation and how you can get them is private student accommodation. For private student accommodation, this is where I'm going to be giving you a sweet deal and some good news. Okay, now for private student accommodation, I'm going to be introducing you to Amber Students. That's if you don't know or you haven't heard about Amber Students already. So Amber Students is a real estate website that uploads or has presence in loads and loads of locations here in the UK and even in other countries. Yeah, even in other countries. Now, with Amber Students, you can be sure that what you see is what you get. So I secured my accommodation through Amber Students, and I feel like it was one of the best decisions I made. That was because the process was fast, it was easy, it was seamless, it was straightforward. Everything you can think of, like everything is you can think of with securing an accommodation here in the UK, you should think Amber Students because they'll help you make the process. I mean, they'll help you simplify the process. Now, if you wish to book a student accommodation, a private student accommodation here in Newcastle or even anywhere in the world, they're present in over 100 cities around the world. So it doesn't really have to be Newcastle. It doesn't even have to be UK alone. You want to click the link in my description box. Once you click the link, it takes you directly to Amber Students website, and then all you have to do is to type in the city that you want to get an accommodation in, and then it brings out a list of flats, studio, apartments, and suite, any type of student accommodation present in your city. It's going to be bringing it out for you. And once you register, once you sign up, you're going to be assigned an expert, like a real estate expert. This the person they'll be assigning to you already knows how to go about the process. Generally, private student accommodations are expensive, okay? They are quite expensive, and they can be, it can be tough getting one. That's why Amber Student is giving you a platform where you have like loads and loads of student accommodation present in your city, and you can just pick whichever one suits your budget, whichever one suits your taste. Anything that you want, you definitely find on Amber Student. Now, to my tip for reducing cost on getting a private student accommodation is for you to get someone that you can share a studio apartment with or a studio accommodation with, and split it literally. So I recently found out that as a student, for some student accommodations, if you're a student and you want to secure an accommodation with them and you cannot afford the ensuite or even just like the bedroom only kind of accommodation, you can get a studio apartment where you have your kitchen and you have your toilet all to yourself, and also get another student that you can split the bills with, and then you'll be sharing the accommodation basically. So I mean, I feel like that makes so much sense. I wish I knew about it before getting this space. It's all well and good. My tenancy here is almost over anyways, but yeah, I feel like that's one way for you to reduce your cost. If you're thinking private student accommodation costs way too much for you, so you want to click the link in my description box, it takes you directly to Amber Students website, register, and then you get a free expert, okay, taking you through the process and walking you through the process of getting an accommodation right from when you register. I also know that obviously you need a guarantor here in the UK, and I know that Amber Students also partners with this agency or this company that gives guarantor services. This means that if you let them know that you don't have a guarantor, they can easily link you up to this company or this agency, and then they can get you a guarantor. This is not free, okay? Getting you a guarantor is not free, but I feel like it saves you the stress of having to, look around here and there for a guarantor. I didn't have to use Amber Students guarantor because I had someone that could, stand in for me and say, okay, this person can pay, and in the case that she cannot pay, we are willing to, pay our rent. But that never happened. Glory be to God. We thank God. But if you don't have anybody, then you can be rest assured that Amber Students will provide you with one at a cost. So yeah, now moving on to the final type of accommodation that you can get, and I'm going to just briefly list the agencies or the websites where you can get them. So you can either get like a 1 bedroom apartment or a 2 bedroom apartment or 3 bedroom, depending on the type of apartment that you want. You can also go for the option of a house share. For this house share, one major agency that I know that does it is spare room. I know that agencies or companies such as Zoopla, Rightmove, Onthemarket also does this, but I know that spare room is like their specialty. Now, for getting either a 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom apartment where you can, get about 2 or 3 of your friends or people that you know and you can share with, and of course, trust me, this is usually cheaper, like way cheaper than ever getting a student accommodation or even getting a private student hall, because I mean, of course, you have your room to yourself, you're comfortable, you have, instead of sharing with like about 8 people or 10 people, as in the case of the university or a private agency, you probably just be sharing with about 2 or 3 people, which makes so much sense. Some agencies that offer this service is Zoopla, like I already mentioned. Rightmove is one agency that I know. Zoopla, Rightmove are just like apps or websites where real estate agencies showcase available accommodations for rent or for sale in the market, basically. So you can just, come together with a few of your friends and look through. It can be 2 of you, you can rent a 2 bedroom apartment. It can be 3 of you, you can rent a 3 bedroom apartment, and it's way easy. But the downside to, renting a these types of apartments is that most of them do not come furnished, okay, as in the case of private student accommodation and student and university halls, which comes furnished, and then also, and are also bills inclusive. Apartments like this do not come as bills inclusive. Most times you have to pay your bills separately, and then you also have to furnish the accommodation. A tip for renting an accommodation on this website is to always check the proximity between where the apartment is located and the and your school. So one of the things you can do is to always, copy the postcode or copy the address of the accommodation listed on the website or on the app, and check the distance between there and your school. So Google will usually tell you. So once you copy the address and then you just type it on Google, the distance between this address and, for instance, the distance between Whitley Bay and Northumbria University, or the distance between Whitley Bay and Newcastle. You can tell the distance between both locations, and you can tell if it's something you want to commit to at the end of the day. One of the things you need to look out for when renting an apartment is deposit that you have to pay. So in renting apartments like this, you need to pay a deposit, like an holding fee deposit or something like that. This deposit is usually like almost at par with the first month's rent. So it means that you're paying like 2 months rent, but I feel like it makes sense. I understand why they would want to do that, because at the end of the day, if something happens to the accommodation or you didn't use it properly, it's that amount that you pay that they will use to cover the cost of whatever happens, and then they'll give you back the money, okay? But it doesn't still mean that you're not paying it before you go in. So you always want to check that first before booking any flat or any apartment on this website or on this app, because I mean, you don't also want to put your neck into something that you won't be able to afford in the long run. Finally, regarding apartments, you need to understand that landlords and letting agents can just be difficult sometimes, okay? They can prove difficult sometimes. They can just want to intentionally use do shakara, okay? So I'm just telling you that to say that you want to apply to as many accommodations or apartment that you see on this website. Send an inquiry message to as many as you can, you guys. I feel like that's the trick to getting apartments like this or accommodations like this. You want to apply to as many as you can and book a viewing. Also, in booking a viewing, I honestly don't want to believe that you necessarily need someone to go and look for you. Although I understand that you don't want to commit your money to something that you haven't like physically seen, or you don't even have anyone that can tell you, okay, this is what I saw and this is what I think about the accommodation. I feel like booking a viewing shouldn't be that difficult, and you don't necessarily need someone to, do a physical viewing for you. You can always do a virtual viewing, and I feel like it gives you a chance to see what you want to pay for before paying for it. So all you have to do is send them an email, or some of them even have like booking websites where you can easily book a viewing. And then once they confirm your booking, you can now like send them an email to tell them that, oh, you are not in the country yet, can they please arrange if a virtual viewing for you. I know that when I was in search of an accommodation before I left Nigeria, I booked a virtual viewing, and I think I got about two accommodations, about two flats, and before I now finally settled for the place I currently stay. So yeah, another thing you need to understand if you want to rent an apartment, okay, is council tax. Ideally you are exempted from council tax as a student. You're not expected to pay council tax, but that might also be a factor that affects you getting a space, because some landlords don't want to give their houses out to students because they know that students are exempted from council tax, and the council tax has to be paid. So at the end of the day, the payment of council tax falls on them, right? So yeah, that's another thing you need to consider. Another good news I want to share with you is the fact that I recently just created a WhatsApp group for students coming in September 2023. Yeah, for students coming in September. I've gotten a lot of questions about, oh, I need someone to, talk to. I mean, I know how it can be if when you're in this process and you don't have anybody to share your thoughts with. And that's why I decided to, create a group for you guys, whoever, like, this one is strictly for students, okay? It's strictly for students resuming September 2023, and you have to join the group, you have to show your offer letter showing that you have been given an offer for this current intake. That way you can get someone to share a studio accommodation with, or even like about 2 to 3 or 4 people to share an apartment with. It just gives you a chance to get to know some set of people before you come into the country, and that's why I thought to create the group. I know how much the group one of my friends Aisha created, and then we're about 200 on that group now, 200, 300 participants on that group. We help each other like every single time. Anytime we have any questions, we always go there. In fact, I spoke to some of them asking that, okay, is there like a group for September 2023 intakes? But I don't think there's any group, and that's why I thought to create one for you. So if you be resuming in September 2023 at Northumbria University, not just any school, guys, at Northumbria University, I've taken it upon myself to create this group chat for you so that you get to meet people of like minds, and then you can rub minds, go through the stage together. It makes sense when you have people to go through each stage with, and then people that understand what is it that you're going through. So if you're interested in joining this group, kindly send me a DM on Instagram at oluwatimilei__a. Send me a DM and I'll definitely add you to the group with your offer letter proof, your proof of offer letter. Also, do not forget, if you are interested in getting a student accommodation, and you are interested in using Amber Student, if you're going to go for student accommodation, I don't know why you're not using Amber Student. First of all, like, I don't know why you're not using Amber Student, because Amber Student is very stress-free, very easy to use. I'm telling you from experience, that was what I used, and it was so seamless. Okay, it was seamless. So if you're interested, click the link in my bio, use my link to book an accommodation with Amber Student, and trust me, you'll be glad you did. If you have any questions that you think I haven't talked about, I haven't mentioned in this video, please drop them in the comment section, and like I said, I'll reply them as soon as I can. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.